you got to put yourself in the shoes to learn the most. This is picking up sticks for like 50 cents. It's like mess up on my words, and I was sweating. I was nervous. Always played sports my whole life. I played hockey, baseball, football, and basketball all the way up until high school, where I kind of transitioned to just baseball. Put all my effort into baseball. Played at Caledonia High School, right in the area. And then I was debating on playing college baseball, and then I kind of just wanted to see kind of what college would look like before I really wanted to make that decision. So came to Davenport University, where actually Aiden goes as well. My mom works for the school, so I have a really lucky opportunity. I'm going here for free, which is
Yeah,
very
there you
nice.
go.
Um, so I came in with no sports to play in college, and then a couple of my friends played on Davenport's men's volleyball team. We have a men's volleyball team. In Michigan, volleyball is not crazy big, but um, so I've never played before. But a couple of my friends actually played on the team. And they wanted me to come out and try it out for the team and made it. And then last year, I actually almost won libero of like West Michigan. So um, I ended up learning pretty quick, and it was really fun. Got to travel to like Arizona and traveled
Damn.
a lot, honestly. So it was really fun, a good experience. This year it's kind of a struggle a little bit because I'm just really busy with the brand right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I came to Davenport study finance. I'm a year ahead. I took a lot of college credits in high school, so I'm double majoring in finance and marketing. Um, so that's just a little bit about background of like school and kind of sports. Um, a little bit about kind of my entrepreneurial journey. I've always kind of had that mindset, even growing up, of just wanting to, hustle and, I'd go around neighbors' houses picking up sticks for like 50 cents when I was like 10. And then it
That's awesome.
kind of led into me, I was 13 years old. I went on some random like Google Doc or something. I can't remember what it was, but then I created a little custom lawn care page flyer, and I walked around my neighborhood and on my bike, and I'd put them in everybody's mailbox. Uh,
Wow.
did that did that for a couple summers, and then kind of led into honestly college. I really didn't know kind of what journey I wanted to go on. I know I wanted to help people. I didn't really know exactly what that would look like or how I'd do it with college. And then it kind of hit me. So last year, my freshman year, I was in my dorm room, and I was just sitting there doing homework, and it really hit me like I needed to change something, and I knew I could do more, and I know I could help people. So I really dove into just like watching create like YouTube videos, reading books, and trying to figure out exactly what that would be. And then it led me to the thought of, I love sports, and I love working with athletes and kids my age and people that's wanting to live a healthy lifestyle. So then I took my visions with that, and I brought it to my dad's. So my dad's good friends worked in the protein industry for about 25 years, and I took my visions to him with struggling to find like workout supplements. I've worked out for about 4 years, around 4 years now. I've taken it seriously probably for like the last year and a half. I've really started to like lift and really be in the gym consistently. So I went to him with my visions of, hey, I want to create something that has like it's a new technology of like, a protein powder that's all natural. Um, and I just kind of went to my visions. I was like, I don't know what how this would work or kind of what we could figure out, but I'd love to talk about some possible ideas. And basically, I kind of hit a amazing kind of one in a million kind of chance where um, this product that I actually sell, it's a patented product. So a little bit about, I'm not going to go into too much detail because it's kind of a long story, but a little bit about kind of like the development of the product.
Before we get to that though, I'm just curious. Is there any other like entrepreneurship within the family? Like how did you get to doing this kind of stuff, like picking up sticks for 50 cents or whatever and doing lawn stuff? Like, is your dad an
Yeah,
entrepreneur, like mom or siblings or anything like that?
no. So My dad actually just he's a vice president of a health insurance company, and then my mom just works at the university here. But my grandpa was a big entrepreneur. He was into sales. He would sell big machinery.
Okay,
My uncle does sales as well, but not really anyone that owns their own business. In my family's, um,
interesting.
I just kind of learned it all myself and fell in love with the whole process of running your own companies, and like I fell in love with it, and that's what I'm in
Yeah.
here for school. So yeah,
Was there like a first time or like a you know a time in your life when you were younger where you're like, I'm gonna start getting into this stuff, or was there a person you met or like a moment, a video you watched or something like that? 'Cause I feel like that's just so just out of the ordinary, right? Like just randomly getting into something like that.
it just came like naturally. It was kind of weird. Like I remember growing up, my parents and my aunts and uncles would always be like, "This kid's definitely gonna own his own business someday." When I was literally 15 years old, and I had no clue what that would look like or anything.
Yeah.
Um, but it was just I loved working, and I loved doing just random stuff for like I would even this is kind of crazy. I started work. I got my first job when I was like 13, and my friend and I would bike to a golf course like 10 minutes from our house, and we would just bike there, and we would literally just go around picking up like sticks and stuff around the course for like $5, $6 an hour.
What the hell? Wow, that's crazy.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just I've always kind of had that mindset of just wanting to run my own business or just
Right.
being an entrepreneur. I've like it's something that I enjoy more than just like, hey, I'd love to make a bunch of money. It's like the passion for it's there. Like I just love doing what I do. Um, in any kind of business kind of aspect. I love doing this. I love
Yeah.
and also thank you for the opportunity. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
coming on and
Absolutely.
talking about this stuff. So but yeah, just being making connections and talking about other brands, and I love seeing other people doing the same thing too. So
Yeah, no, definitely. And honestly, it's like entrepreneurship, it's becoming a more prominent thing in society nowadays. In some ways, and in some ways it's not. Everything's right there at the tips of our fingers to start a company, right? Like you can
oh
go right
yeah.
down to your town office, freaking open up a DBA, you got a Shopify account, whatever it might be. You have access to a
Yep.
phone, you can start a company. But I think the biggest difference between the accessibility to technology and whatnot nowadays is like the actual action of the individual, right? I feel like the motivations are different nowadays. Even though everything's
Hmm.
right there for someone like us three, right? We're driven to do something like that, so we have everything at the tips of our fingers to be able to do it. So
Yeah.
good on you for doing that. And obviously, you're what, 19 right now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
19.
that's crazy. So little bit younger. Actually, I think I started. When did you start in Visible Force?
4 months ago.
4 months ago.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. Good
Very new.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I started Underdog in 2019, so I guess I was the same age as you
Nice.
when I started
I
it. That's
love
funny.
that.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, no, I mean we have a lot of I was excited for this because it's a interview that's out of the ordinary for us. Like usually we dive into the athletics and the training side of things, but I want to talk more about the business side of things because there's a lot
Yeah, for
of
sure.
adversities that come along with starting a company and diving into a new industry, right? Like for us, we
Definitely.
primarily in the start, we were like all clothing. We started with clothing, which was a cakewalk compared to getting started in the
Supplements.
supplement
Oh
industry,
yeah.
right?
It's
Yeah,
it's
so
crazy.
yeah, so give us a little rundown, like some of the obstacles you faced, and just from the start of when you started it 4 months ago, and how did you even come up with the idea? Like the name's sick, by the way. I love that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, so uh like I said, like it all kind of started in my freshman dorm room where it really after doing a lot of research and like what kind of, you know, a lot of like learning about just like how to start a business and how to go about it. And then once I actually got in touch with my dad's friend about the product, that obviously took some time and talking to people to get access to the patented technology. Um, but it was, I've never really taken that kind of big of a risk in my life where, an opportunity. So it obviously took some time to do. And I was like, I've seen so many quotes and read so many books of like, take the risk. You're never gonna like if you don't take the risk, you'll never know. So, um, I was like, we're gonna do it after a lot of research and time into it. I took the risk, and it was like one of the best chances I've ever taken. So,
For us, like I can give you an example for us,
oh
like
yeah,
there were plenty of times where I mean I could run down a huge list, a huge long list for well, how we started, but I mean one is like everything's from sourced from different areas, right? Like the cans come from one place, all the ingredients are sourced from different companies, and then
yeah.
you get it all produced at a co-packer, and like there's just all these intangibles and crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Like the cans, we actually have a spelling error on our can. And
I had that a couple times on some labels. So,
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. So that's funny. That's funny you say that. We were freaking out because at the time this was just about a $10,000 mistake if from one letter being off if we were to redo the whole thing. And it's just things like that that you learn. You take yeah. See,
Where is it? Right there. No,
serving.
what
Yeah,
word? Oh, the
serving.
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 Yeah.
Right there.
So and
Oh yeah,
all
Eight
all
thousand
it
dollar
takes is like
mistake.
yeah, but it's like, you can take one of two paths, right? Like obviously you restart and that's it's a lot of money down the drain, or you just bite the bullet and you sell the product and you get on to the next phase. So like that's one example for us,
dude. You guys
that we
want
had
to
to
hear
deal with.
something that actually completely relates to that I
Oh yeah,
literally just ran?
let's hear it.
So, I actually have some right here. Look at this mistake. So all these berries, that's what it's supposed to look like.
No.
Oh.
We had hundreds of jars printed with that, and I was freaking out because hundreds of cans were just printed with that on, and I was like, we're gonna either roll with it or we're gonna have to completely dish it out. And we're just running through the stock that we have with
Yep.
the air, and we're gonna make sure that it's not next time. But
Yeah.
um,
Hey, that's the way it
it's not a crit.
goes. I mean,
But
we thought we were
yeah,
in the same
sometimes it
boat.
happens. So
Joey and I even talked too about like prime hydration. Their first run, they spelled ingredients wrong. It's like, okay, these guys are working with
happens.
millions of dollars and millions of dollars worth of stock, and it happens to them. Like
Hmm.
it happens to the best of us. We thought it was going to be the be all end all. We talk about it openly now. Most people haven't even noticed. The only people that notice are ones that we've told, like, hey, there's a mistake on here. Like, can you find it? Like
Yeah,
most and
nobody's even noticed that. I
exactly.
mean, I'm open. I'm like, hey, it was an error, and we'll fix it for next run.
Yeah.
So
100%. And that too, like, okay, different berries, they're not going to know any different that it's wrong. Like, they're going to look at the label and be like, all right, right on, tropical punch, let's
yeah,
go. Not, so
yeah,
Yeah.
you just roll with it. And, it's a learning process. That's one thing. Um, Joey and I have learned we can't assume anything. We got to double and triple check everything. And
oh
going
yeah,
back to two
yeah,
about taking the risk, I think that's definitely something. I mean, this was for us too, huge risk. Like what we have tied into this, we didn't know if it was going to sell. I mean, we sure like to think so, but we don't know. We don't know the state of the economy. Our funding
right,
situation, everything. There's so many risks involved, and one thing I've learned is you never want to be left saying what if. You want to be able to look back and be like,
exactly,
you know what? I exerted all my efforts, all my options. It didn't work out. You know, you can live with that, but you never want to go on being like, man, what if I did this or what if I tried this? You never want to be left saying
yeah,
that. So I think
What
it's
what
exactly.
always worth
hey
it.
Dylan, what if we just looked over that label one more time? Maybe we got it, Oh god, yeah. No, that's funny though. I mean, yeah, like you said, it happens to everybody. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear like the process that you kind of went through. First of all, do you have a business partner that you started this with, or are you just pretty much
I,
riding
I,
solo right now?
I'm the CEO. I'm the only guy basically. Girlfriend helps out a little bit, but um, yeah. As far as like ownership and everything, I'm the full 100% CEO and owner of the company.
So how
So
did you go about
yeah,
getting into the aminos? How did you come up with your formulation? Obviously, that was kind of the main part that um, I focused on with Joey was the formulation side of things, which was
yeah,
obviously fun, but it was also a big learning curve. So how did you go
Yeah.
about formulation? How did you decide what you wanted into it? And then, yeah, get into like, you know, how'd you source all your ingredients? How did you, bring this product to life?
So it's actually kind of a unique story. So since it's a patented technology, I did not actually create the ingredients and what was actually in the product. So the
Okay.
product was actually originally developed for burn victims, people that couldn't build muscle mass anymore. So huge bodybuilders or NFL players that have trained for 30 years, you know. So they pooled $20 million of product research to develop this product.
Wow.
And um, so it was Harvard, NASA, and the University of Minnesota. So a Harvard scientist developed the product, and it was made for the burn victims, right? So they could build muscle mass again. Um, some of them, it was so bad they could barely move. So um, they developed this product and they gave it to these patients, and they did uh, 24 human clinical studies on the actual product. And then when they did these clinical studies, it came back 3 times more effective than whey protein isolate and 32 times more effective than BCAAs.
Wow.
So immediately they got it into sports nutrition under a different company,
Huh.
and they sold it for a while and they were doing very well. But then they got a new CEO and he wanted to switch over to vitamins. So basically, the product has been sitting there. The company that did sell it for a little bit just discontinued it a couple of months ago, and I'm the only seller of the product. So um,
Wow.
I have the access to the technology, and Invisible Force is the only seller of this technology. And now the
Huh.
old seller just focuses on like vitamins and stuff. So I literally came in at the perfect chance and got the perfect opportunity. So yeah, the a little bit I guess about the ingredients of what is actually in it. So it's an essential amino acid formula with protein. Most EAAs don't have protein. So it's 20 calories and it's equivalent to 15 grams of protein. Um, the name actually, it's kind of unique where the Invisible Force name actually comes from is there's no dyes in our product, so it actually mixes clear like water when you actually make it.
Okay.
So
Oh,
invisible is the invisible, and the force is actually all the ingredients and the nutrition actually within the product and the ingredients.
gotcha. That's awesome.
So um, yeah, so it's lactose free, it's gluten free, dye free. The hugest thing that I loved about the product is, I struggled a lot to figure out. I tried creatine. Um, I tried a couple pre-workouts. Obviously, pre-workouts different for everybody, depending on how much caffeine they like. If they don't like a
Mhm.
lot of caffeine, I bet that was like probably pretty tough, especially with like all the crazy NCAA rules now with
Oh
caffeine.
god, yeah.
I
You
bet you
can't
guys
even
could
mention
talk about that for
NCAA. You
days.
don't even want to mention NCAA. That's just bad news.
Yes. So, I wanted to really this was like my dream product and it got literally like it was right there for me. So with it being all natural and you know um so concentrated and compared to like your protein shake where you're shaking up your clumpy milky protein shake and it's hard to take. Some of them are getting really good nowadays, but
Oh yeah, yeah.
most of them are still, clumpy and chalky. Our product goes down straight like a water. It literally tastes like a flavored water and it has protein in it. So the protein in our formula actually comes from the spinning of wool and vegetables. It's kind of unique and crazy.
Oh,
Um, I don't know how much you guys, I won't go into crazy much depth, but I don't know how much you guys know about EAAs, like
yeah.
amino acids.
Yep.
Um, you probably do, but BCAAs, so there's 20 total amino acids. You guys probably already know this,
Yep.
but um, only nine out of the 20 are essential for the muscle building process. BCAs only have 3 out of the 9. So I usually just tell people like it's kind of like your Lego set, right? You need
Yep.
all your Lego blocks to build your full Lego set. Same with building muscle, right? You need every single block to build muscle mass the most effective and the most efficient. So, and our product in EAAs has 9 out of the 9 essential amino acids for the muscle building process. So, um, it also has like the 3 and the 1, so it's your hydration, your muscle recovery, and muscle building all in one. But I
That's
I want to
awesome.
keep talking about the business part, so I'll leave the rest of the
Yeah,
pod
yeah.
out of
Oh,
there.
you're
But
you're cutting Dylan off on his time to shine. He loves talking about
The
the
nerdy
ingredients.
stuff.
Yeah,
That's the good
that's
stuff.
funny. Yeah, no,
yeah,
but real quick. So you mentioned that. No, now what's the connection again with the formula? So the patented ingredient. You said it's your dad's coworker or
so,
something like that.
so my dad's good friend, he's worked for a mass nutrition company,
Okay.
and he's been the vice president of sales there. And then I went there with basically my vision, and he talked to like his higher up boss and like told him
Yeah.
like, hey, I have this 19-year-old kid with some crazy vision, and he was like, go for it, you know.
Wow.
So right, yeah, I can definitely talk a little bit about um, kind of the struggles, like you said. I didn't really touch on that, like that I had when I started. You know, it has been very, very tough, and then there's been very great days. So, and then I can just kind of talk about where I'm going and kind of where I'm at now, I guess, if that's
Yeah,
kind
no,
of what you would
definitely.
want.
Absolutely dive into it. I just, yeah, I mean, my first thought with that too is like connections are everything.
Yeah,
It's in business, in sports, like you have to have connections if you want to really level up and make it to that next step in the journey. Like for athletes, like if you don't have the right people who have already done what you've done to mentor you, or even like advisors and agents to like put you in the right situation, you're not going to make it. And it's the same thing in business. Like if you don't have these little ins with people, and I think honestly that comes with just being a conversationalist. Like myself, I'm an introvert, and I've always kind of been that way. I'm
me
not a
too.
super like outgoing person, and that was a challenge for me. Was like really being able to start conversations. Like, I remember the first few podcasts we did. I was probably sweating the whole entire time. You know what I mean? Like it was just it's stuff like that. But you got to get out of your comfort zone to be able to
Yeah,
level up in those situations. So, but yeah, that was just one thing I noted, right? Like with your dad and the connection he had, but like that's just how it happens, right? Just taking that
exactly.
first step and making those connections. But yeah, I'd love to hear the adversity, so you can dive into those for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I just to kind of add on to your point, and then I'll dive in. But I remember, dude, the first couple news interviews and the first couple podcasts, I would like mess up on my words, and I was sweating. I was
Yeah,
nervous.
yeah,
So, and even making videos for like content, like being uncomfortable, like going up to people, like, "Yo, do you want to try my new energy drink?" Right? Like,
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
it definitely takes a lot of getting used to, and like I'm going to gyms and gyms, but I remember the first couple are just like you're so nervous, and but it's taught me a lot, and now I'm kind of obviously a lot more comfortable with it. So it just takes definitely some time, but yeah, I can definitely relate to that. So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
um yeah, so I guess a little bit kind of little interesting stuff about the business part of it, but and the kind of failures and kind of just how it happened. So, once I got the access to the technology, I had another connection with my dad's friend that um, actually does all the design work for Mastercraft and Hopcat, or not Hopcat, Cracker Barrel, and he does a bunch of other like logo designs and everything.
hmm
But reached out to him, and we worked for like 2 months back and forth on the logo design and the labels because I wanted to make it unique and just different. So we went back and forth on that. Then I probably should have marketed a little bit and stuff and done like a pre soft launch, but I was so antsy and I was just like so ready to just like get it out there and bring it to the people and have people try it. So I was really
yeah,
excited. So I think if I were to go back like and kind of do it a little bit different, I would have tried to build up like the social relevance of kind of the product before I just straight up tried to launch it. Did well like once we launched, but I think it could have done a little bit better and we could have had a little more kind of awareness of the product and the company. Um, but yeah, so launch did well. Um, then it was me just learning on like how to do it. So I got some mentors to help me through the way. Um, and I started cold calling gyms every day. I picked up the phone by myself. I would sit at my desk. So through the summer, I was right when I launched, like kind of July-ish area. I launched, and I was working 9 to 5 landscaping. So I would go and I had one day off. I took Thursday off, and I would work my business all day and try to get connections, just events scheduled. So I would work 9 to 5 doing landscaping all day. And then on Thursday, I would come home and I wouldn't have to work. I'd go to the gym and I would sit there and write down like 50 gyms in my area, and I would get on the phone with everyone. And my first couple, dude, I tell you, I had no clue what to say. So
Yeah.
I wrote down on like a kind of a script, and I got my like kind of spiel down, and I was cold calling, 25 gyms a day, and I was like, I'd love to come to your guys' gym, and I would love to hand out samples to your guys' customers. And I kid you not, for the first 10 that even would talk to me would say no. Like, hearing a 19-year-old kid after what I like, just told you, but before you actually knew kind of a little bit of the background of like how it happened and the backstory, they're all like, no, sorry. They're probably think that, it's a little different. Like when you hear the story versus like, oh, hearing a 19-year-old kid probably
Yeah.
sounds like he's making this in his basement. But, um,
Yeah.
so
We get
it
it. We
was,
get
it
it
was really,
firsthand. Totally
yeah,
understand
it was a,
it.
it was a struggle to even hear like people to even listen to me at first, like um but then it kind of just started to snowball, so once I went to my first gym event, it was it was definitely a learning experience. It was good, but um then it just kind of started snowballing. One gym event turned into 10, and then I was going to them all the time, and um definitely was not easy. I mean, like I said, I got a bunch of no's and people that didn't even want anything to do with me, or hey, I already work with these people. And, um, after calling and especially being new, and then you have people just telling you, no, 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 you just want to sit there and quit. But I'm like, this is why I started, there's going to be failures along the way. And I just told myself like, it's for the better, and it's going to pay off in the end if you don't quit. So I just
For
kept
sure.
calling, and then those gyms that we would go to ended up leading into like our product being in that gym. So um it really started after like a month of like, even like friends and stuff. I had some friends support me for sure, and a lot of people were skeptical though, like, do I really want to spend $50 on some supplement that some kids preaching that's 19, right?
Yeah.
um so it was like how to like market that, and like how to actually um, kind of learn how to kind of work with that. But then, going gym to gym, I was started meeting owners and started building my gym connections. And now I can go to gyms around Grand Rapids and just walk in and be like, hey, what's up? And then,
Yeah.
so, which I love. And we have great connections with a bunch of the gym owners around here. But then it led to, all right, James, you did some taste testing events and people tried it, but okay, what's next, right? So I
Hmm.
had to develop a whole plan and type up like a whole Excel sheet of prices and how to move product, and okay, how can I get my product into that gym? So then I um, would call the owner up and I'd say, hey, we had a great, event or whatever. I would love to come in and talk to you about possibly supplying the product in your gym. And would just basically sit down with some like, hey, we'll bring in some product and see if it even moves, right? I'm a business owner and you guys are too, but especially for the gyms, I'd hate to see, them lose money, especially when I'm new too, obviously when you have the credibility and the relevance too, like, you know, G or like Ghost or something. They already have like crazy amounts of like everyone knows what it is.
Right.
But
Right.
I was like, I'll bring it in and we'll see if it moves. But if not, no harsh, no worries. So uh, just trying to keep those good relationships, and then it led into going around Grand Rapids and just making cool random content. I've my biggest struggle is social media. Honestly, it is. TikTok is very hard. It's so like
Yeah.
a
Oh yeah.
random video could pop off and like,
Yeah.
um, but it just takes time and like just consistency. Um, so yeah, and then it kind of led into getting into a couple of gyms, and then I was having news people call me and message me saying, "We'd
Wow.
love to interview you on the news." And I was on the local news, and then
That's
um,
awesome.
Davenport ac- Davenport actually wrote a story on me and published it to the school. So that was really cool.
That must have been
Um,
cool. Yeah.
it was really sweet. So, you know, getting on the news and then getting some credibility.
When you said going back to the, had a successful gym event. When you say gym event, were you just going in, setting a table up, bringing the product in, and when
Oh, yeah, I didn't
people
really
were
explain
coming
that.
in, were you just being like, hey, like,
So,
what's up? This is my story. This is what I'm selling. That sort of thing. Like,
yeah, basically, I would just call these gyms and say, "Hey, I'd love to come in and like, it's a new company and a new technology of like protein powder with aminos, and I'd love to come in totally free and set up a table."
yeah,
And I would drive around Grand Rapids, even I would just drive around Grand Rapids area. And sometimes this was even like my girlfriend and I's bonding time where we would go to these events together and I'd walk in with a table and a tablecloth from Meyer and I'd just make up a huge like tub of it and I would just sit there and we'd fill up cups and just talk the spiel of what the product is
yeah,
and just do that as many times as I can. It is a pain for sure, but
Yeah.
it's definitely worth it, and it's that's what I would do. It was a grind. It was very tough. I would even sometimes I'd even go work. You know, even landscaping 9 to 4, and at 5:30 I'd have an event. So I'd come home. I'd have to jump in the shower quick, and I'd be like load everything up in the car and drive 20 minutes away to set up a table, and I wouldn't get home till 9 at night and do the same thing.
Yeah.
So
That's
definitely the grind, but
oh yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think
that's what
people
it's all
realize
about.
people don't realize what it actually takes to like start not just like keep a company going, but starting a company, like getting it off the ground. So many people just fall flat on their face when they first start because they don't realize how much they actually have to do to maintain the company, to grow the company, and they have to wear every single hat when they first start.
Oh
You know what I
yeah,
Yep.
mean?
dude.
Which is yeah. So
I didn't even know when I got into it. Like I was like, oh, just starting a little business. Like I did not even expect the amount of work and
yeah,
like
yeah,
pain, but it fell in love. I fell in love with the process and like doing it. But I never thought it would have been this hard and this
yeah.
much work and time. And even after putting in so much time, you're like, oh my god, I still got 10 things on my agenda for tomorrow.
Yep.
Does that
So
not sound like me, Dylan?
Yeah, Joey. So we have Joey's task list is like he's like, wow, we were on a call the other day, just again doing tedious tasks, replying to emails, looking at invoices, just planning. And he's like, wow, I got my task list under 100 things. It's like great, and then I added three
yep,
more that day, and it's back over 100. It's like, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, people don't understand the day to day work that goes in just to keep everything up and running. Like here. So I'm at Long
yeah.
Island University, and I play
Oh,
hockey
nice.
here. Student, full time student. People think, oh, you're just selling cases out of your dorm room. Like people come in, and it's like you got cases, just chilling. That's what you do. It's like no, like Joey and I are on the phone 3 hours a day. We text all throughout the day. Like you're constantly communicating and doing little tedious things just to keep everything moving. And people don't
Right.
understand the time management aspect of just being a student athlete, let alone trying to do a side gig. Well, not really much of a side gig, but a third kind of piece of your life that you're trying to juggle to fit it all in. Some people just
yeah,
don't understand it.
yeah,
Yeah, it's very true. I
yeah,
think one of the I think one of the just like one of the touch point. I think one of the biggest challenges that I've faced, obviously in the summer, even working, I had some time to, I'd even come home from work sometimes and work till 2 a.m. Just
yeah,
trying to get it done and build it. It's a part of the grind. But I think now it's like the toughest part is, being in college and playing a sport right now. Like it's very tough to, especially being the single owner, like I'm doing everything. I'm going to the post office. I'm going to the, schedule
yeah,
events. I I'm doing the website development. I have help with social media, but still it's just crazy busy. Like I got to respond to the emails. I got to respond to this and
yeah,
um so it's definitely like trying to find the balance has been very tough and then half of myself is like well, obviously I'm going all in with this, but college is definitely um not in the way, but kind of obviously like
yeah.
a little bit of an
It's in the
obstacle.
way, you could say,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
well, especially the
but
requirement, like you're a double major. It's not like you're just uh, screwing around in school. Like you're trying to pursue two
yeah,
different majors, and I totally get it. Like I'm
yeah,
a bio
it's
pre med student. Like trying to fit the classwork
it's
in is
crazy,
tough.
dude.
It's tough.
It's crazy. Um, the only thing is, like, I'm gonna graduate next year, hopefully on track, but where I'm like, dude, I've already spent a couple years, just doing work.
Yeah,
I'm here for free. Just finish
finish
it
it
up
up.
and
Yeah,
Hmm.
like just finish it up, have the degree, and put that what you will learn, apply it to the business world.
Yeah.
Even if it's down the road, other businesses, everything, it will bring it's credibility. You know what you're talking about. You learned it, and um, so it would be dumb not to just
Yeah.
finish. So
yeah. No, and you're young too, right? Like
yeah,
that's one. I mean, we're all young here. Like I'm talking to you like
for
you're
sure,
like
you.
10 years younger than me. I'm 22, so but no, I mean, you mentioned something earlier too, is like getting the legitimacy of yourself and your product across to people that you're trying to communicate with. Like I think there's a huge um stigma and like issue around young people starting things, right? And I think it has to do with today's generation. There are not many people like us that want to do these kinds of things, and I
Hmm.
think that the older generations, they look at our generation as somewhat of a joke, and I'm sure like we're probably going to do that to the generations below us, and it's just a repeating process. But I've found that that's the most difficult thing too, right? Is like getting people to understand that, hey, like I'm actually knowledgeable on this topic, or I can manage this business, I can do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And yeah, no, I mean that's it, and it's tough too because when you're having a conversation with somebody that they realize how young you are, they kind of belittle you when you first start.
Oh yeah.
and
Oh
and
yeah.
I found that a big thing is like responding to that with just a surging amount of confidence in
Oh
yourself
yeah.
and the product and the business, and then it's just a 180 right after that. Then you can start having a conversation, you kind of like start building that relationship.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting, very interesting process and tool that you can really use going forward, like
Yeah.
becoming a conversationalist,
The kind of thing I think about it, like with being young, doing this stuff now, is we have so many resources everywhere. You can look anything up on YouTube, you can look anything up on Google, and you can learn anything you want,
Hmm.
literally.
Yep.
So it's kind of like what I say to like people that say, you're too young to do this, you can't do that, is um, and most of those people's generations, they didn't have access to any of that.
Exactly.
So we can go on YouTube and you can sit there for a full day and you can learn more than you could, sitting in a classroom, to be said.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Yep.
it's just you can learn so much real world stuff. I think that, school is great for people that want to obviously be a doctor. You need to go to school or whatever. Um, but it's just there's so many great resources for us now, to where you can do it at any age. There's 14-year-olds out there that are somehow making 50 grand online, like
Oh,
a
more than
month.
that, man,
Yeah.
way more than
At
that.
least I'm
you
like,
know
but it's just crazy. So like, and that's kind of how I kind of did it, especially like when I launched the brand. Like you think of it, I kind of thought of it like a driver's test, right? Like that person can do it, I can do it, right? So like, I'm seeing these younger kids, or like, just people our age having businesses and stuff. I'm like, I can do that too. So
Yep.
if you put in the time and effort and wanting to learn it and love what you do, I think anything's possible at kind of any age.
right.
A little bit. So this is just kind of a side note though. Um, Half of my brand is about, the motivation and the grind of like doing it. So that's a huge part of what I'm repping in, and like hopefully I'm gonna have like um merch coming out soon. It just takes a long time to find manufacturers and everything, but
Yeah,
you guys know that. But
yeah.
um, being motivational. You don't really hear 19-year-olds starting a nutrition company. But I love it because I can, relate to guys like you and athletes around the country, and even just people trying to live that healthy lifestyle, even if they're not an athlete, where, um, I'm around college kids every day, and I hear them like, "Oh, dude, I hate this. I hate this clumpy protein shake," or whatever. Just hearing kind of that and being able to actually like say that, I'm helping people achieve their goals is like one of my biggest things, and I love to see that. So um, being the motivation too of like just take the risk, and age doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want at whatever age. That's huge. What I'm about, I tell my friends and family. A lot of like my family's like, "Do you really want to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude.
Hell
I'm just
yeah.
let's do it." And I'll
Yeah.
if not, if I'll not, I'll learn so much. So, um, I've learned so much in the last, year of doing this than I have probably my whole life.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I know you guys are huge about like the motivation and being the
Oh yeah.
underdog, obviously too. So I love that, and I, that's what it's all about, dude.
Yeah.
We're the underdogs, baby.
Yeah, literally, yeah, I know. That's just how I feel every single day, honestly. Like that's just the mindset that I have, and I don't think it'll ever change. Like I don't even think that if I built the company to a point where it was reputable, everybody knew it, I would still have the mindset of like go one more. Like there's always that next level to reach,
Hmm.
and just knowing where you
For
came from
sure.
too. It's just it's something that can make you push a long way.
Yeah. The
Um,
craziest thing is too is that you guys probably had like when you have good success or like you have something that goes really well or you get a good meeting or like something happens great, you're always like, "Oh, this is sweet." But for me, it's like instantly like, "Okay, that was sweet, but now what?"
Now I want
yeah,
more. Yeah. It's like, okay, great. We sold
Yeah.
yeah.
20. Like, I want to sell 50 today. Okay,
Yeah,
we're in three
yeah,
Yeah.
gyms. I want to be in 10.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just never
Or
ending.
you
For
know,
sure.
you just never. I think the another thing too that I've noticed is like not getting too high and not getting too low, almost like maintaining like
Even
this
keel.
medium
Yeah.
balance. Like if something great happens, don't get too high on it because the next minute you might
Mhm.
get word from somebody that there's you know something happened, or you know what I mean. That's just there's always that
Yeah.
chance that something like that can happen, and it has happened, right? Like you, for
Yeah.
example, like the other day we just locked down another distributor and they bought 15 cases of the product, and then like it's like,
Nice.
oh wow, and it's the start, it's a Monday, right? And you're like, wow, this is awesome. And then all of a sudden, like
Nice.
something else happens, and you're like, okay, this is a little less awesome. And then it's just there's all these different things, all these intangibles that can happen that you
Nice.
just
Yeah.
keeping a cool level head, I think, is just so important. I'm sure you've experienced the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, and one thing too about the like whole schooling thing too. I was a business major when I first started, and I decided to switch majors because I found that I could practically teach the class. So I was like, this might not be a valuable way to spend my money, right? I might as well just learn
Right.
another major or something like that. But it's honestly, it's not concerning, but it's it worries me a little bit that people who are in like the business major or want eventually they're in school right now and they want to have their own company someday, and they think that school is really pushing them towards that goal. It's not. There's so much more involved than just learning the tactics, right? It's like being
Yeah.
resilient, learning to like face
Uh,
the adversities, and it's just crazy, man.
the biggest thing is doing it. You gotta
Yeah.
put yourself in the shoes to learn the most, right?
Mhm.
You'll never know how to cold call someone unless you do it. It
Yep.
sucks, but you won't learn unless you do it.
Yeah.
You won't know how to sell a case of product if you don't try.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
you won't know how to open that business if you don't try it. So, like I said a little bit ago, I mean, if I didn't do it, I definitely would be like, what if? The regrets of like, and that's with anything. Like that's where I like live by. Take the risk, take the opportunities. You never know what will come about it. Take that phone call. You never
Yep.
know who's gonna call you with an opportunity, or you never know what message somebody might randomly send you on Instagram or something that could pop into something life changing. So,
For
um,
sure.
but yeah, just kind of doing it. Like you can sit there and listen to a YouTube video, or you can sit there in classroom for years or days or whatever. But until you actually make the step of doing it and actually trying to do the task, it doesn't really matter like what you learn kind of until you actually kind of do it. Obviously, you need some knowledge to do it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that's where I've learned that you actually do learn the most about business world. Obviously, it's a little different for everything, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and one thing too, like that I noticed as soon as you said that you're like the only guy. So that used to be me. Like I used to I was doing everything. It was overwhelming at times. I'm sure
yeah,
you've experienced that as well. But one thing that you will experience soon, especially if your brand keeps growing at the rate that it is the value in having other people around you.
mm-hmm.
Whether it's working with you, working for you, whatever it might be, like there's so much value in bouncing ideas off each other, because like one person might come up with this idea over here and then you come back with this idea, and it's just this back and forth
Yeah,
of like, and sometimes it's hard to see things when you're so like in the process, right? Like for
Yeah,
me, there were
that's
so
tough.
many, yeah, there were so many times where like I was just so dialed in that if I just took a step back, I could see, okay, there's an issue over here, there's an issue over there, and you'd notice that if you were talking with somebody else and stuff like that, you
Yeah,
know?
that's so one of the kind of steps, it was actually kind of funny because Aiden and I was talking about, I was like, dude, so I guess kind of like I've grown the awareness around Grand Rapids area, but it was like, okay, how do I grow awareness around the country? How do I grow awareness around the globe? Like, how do I do that? And I kind of actually talked to him about like a little bit about your guys' brand and what you guys do, because what you guys do looks like it's working great. And um, he just told me like about how you guys like have a sales team and like you
Yeah,
guys all are able to communicate and bounce ideas off each other. And that sparked an idea like out of me almost too, where I was like, okay, I'm in college. I don't have $100,000 to market this.
yeah,
It
yeah,
would be amazing if I had 100 grand to be like,
yeah,
yo, Jake Paul, you want to film a video with my
yeah,
product in your hand?
yeah,
All right, there's 10 grand. Poof. We just got 10,000 followers from that.
yeah,
Sweet.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but it's obviously a lot tougher. Like I bet just
yeah,
like how do I market this? How do I do it? With having college funds, it's very tough. And where do you put your money where? But that kind of sparked me with the sales team a little bit. I was thinking about it a little bit before, but just trying to get like other people that are like minded to actually like spark ideas. Like James, I don't know, we should focus on this, or like
yeah,
because it's really hard because like I'm the only one like kind of with the decisions, or like which is
right.
nice obviously, but like
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
having the ideas of like, hey, I think, it's tough for me, like, coming up with I don't know what videos should I make. Should I do some interviews? Should I go out and do some taste testings? But who's
yeah,
gonna record me? Who's gonna help me edit these? Who's
yeah,
gonna do that? So, I'm actually that's kind of actually really where I'm at in the process of like trying to just grow the awareness around the country and like how do I go about that? How do I find a kid in LA that's gonna want to go around gyms putting it in product? Because I
right,
can't be in LA every day or I can't be in Florida
yeah,
every day.
Hmm.
So trying to go about that, but I'm sure you guys have heard a lot of this probably too, but reaching out to people that might be interested and then they're like, "Oh my god, yeah, I'm sold in. Let's do this. Oh my gosh, I'm going to sell all this and blah blah blah."
yeah, yeah,
Show them the details and then you never hear from them. Or they're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I don't know." So
yeah, yeah.
so
No,
it's
absolutely.
that's definitely like a process of like how do I do it? I don't know. Do I go like, especially being new with this, like, I don't know, do I, get some investors that help me out? Do I get a business partner that can help me with the workload? Do I create this sales team? I put together a sales team on Slack and like got a bunch of guys in there and threw a bunch of scripts in there, created a whole nice slideshow of all the details of everything. And like two out of the 10 were like, all right, let's do this
Yeah, yeah,
after I talked on the phone to like six of them and they were like all in. So I don't. It's not the end of the world, but
Hey,
it's just like
20%,
learning
that's
about it and how it
solid.
works. So
I mean, that's
yeah.
pretty
That's
yeah,
good. We had an affiliate program of over 200 members in Slack. And Joy, how many are active now?
nice.
about 30, I want to
Yeah.
say, just about that.
So
Yeah,
there,
Jeez. Yeah.
that's the
yeah,
way it goes. That I mean, it takes special people and it takes time and effort to find people with the same vision and the same drive and
Yeah.
they're just that are like-minded and want to accomplish something like
Yeah.
us. So
yeah,
they're diamonds in the rough, and Joey and I found
Exactly. It's very
found
true.
one with Aiden. Aiden's been awesome with us, and
Oh yeah, he's a beast.
yeah, you'll come
yeah.
across
And the
them
fun,
and go
yeah,
ahead.
the funny thing is that like everything's a double-edged sword. It's just a matter of which side of the sword is a little duller than the other side. And
Yeah.
the reason why I say that is because no matter what path you take, you might think that expanding and getting all these salesmen all across the country is going to be a great thing. It's going to be brand
But then
awareness
there's
all over the
something.
place. Yeah. And then you get those salesmen, they make a sale at a gym. How are you going to get 100 cases of your product over there?
Oh
You're going to
yeah.
be paying
Oh
thousands of
yeah.
dollars for shipping. You know what I mean? So it's like all these
Yeah.
different things that you got to think about. And there's always going to be something on the other end. And I think that's what a
This
lot of
is
people don't
yeah.
realize, you know?
This is kind of like a crazy, like kind of something like that. But um, the guy that obviously helped, like my dad's friend that helped me get within the product and everything, He has a connection with this dude that owns the Amazon of Kazakhstan and Russia,
Wow, I gotta
and
meet this
his
guy.
yeah. I actually told Aiden about your guys' brand, so
Oh,
possibly I'm not. It's not a for
yeah,
sure thing, but
yeah,
um, I mean, there's a possibility of him. It just depends because how long is it going to take to ship over there, and the
yeah,
product
yeah,
expires in 2 years. So how many are going to be able to sell on time? But like possibly shipping around 1,000 units out there. Like how the heck is that going to work? And like how long is it
yeah,
going to ship, and how long is it going to take to
yeah,
sell? Because they're not going to want to. It's just crazy stuff like that. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. You take your car, you
so
drive it, then you hop on a boat, you take it over there, then you drive it to the
yeah,
place. It's like honestly,
and then start
shipping's a
walking
nightmare
around.
nowadays.
It
Like
is.
it's
It's
crazy.
crazy.
Yep.
But yeah. So I guess kind of like one of the other like kind of things I'm like where I'm at with the brand and like is obviously like not having crazy money to like get influencers or like growing the brand awareness is the hardest and craziest thing I've
Yeah.
ever experienced.
It's a
It's like
bootstrap company though, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that's what happens.
it's like okay, well, how do I get in contact with some people that would actually try it or like just trying to grow like relevance all over social media is huge, dude. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
killer. It's such a killer marketing scheme and like just coming up I think just coming up with like ways to create content and like just build your awareness is the biggest thing,
Mhm.
but it's about doing it. Like I don't want to go out every single day and hand out samples for the rest of my life, but
Yeah.
you kind of have to at least kind
Yeah.
of um get it kind of recognized. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No. And it's funny. It's because like everybody thinks that you're gonna do something and you're gonna get a reward, right? There's gonna be a reward on the other end of it. You might go to have a table selling your product at some gym and nobody buys the product, and you just spent all that time sitting there
Oh
setting
yeah.
up, sitting there talking to people, and nobody buys your product. Like for me, I'll edit a podcast, I'll edit a freaking snippet of the podcast and post it on Instagram. I'm like, oh, this is a sick video. This is going to be really good for our brand awareness, and it just falls flat on its face. Like
Oh
things like that
dude,
happen.
I spent hours editing like a TikTok or like posting some sick
Yeah,
video or going to an
yeah,
event and nothing happens and you just want to literally just shut the computer, walk out the
yeah,
door and call it done. But then you're
yeah,
just like then you still go
yeah,
back to the root like this is why I started, dude. You can't give up,
yeah,
You got
yeah,
to keep
and
pushing through it. So,
yeah,
yeah, one of the biggest actually one of the this is a big challenge, but one of the a unique thing that I actually just did was I don't know if you guys know what Grand Valley State University is.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I've heard. Yeah,
but they asked me to come public speak in front of their lifting club last week.
Aiden
Wow.
told me about this. Yeah,
So yeah, I went in front of like I think it was like 50-ish people. But I had to go up on a stage and just talk about basically what we talked about. And I was so nervous. But it was like a cool, unique kind of thing. And um, just kind of taking every cool opportunity that you think would be good is kind of learning and
yeah,
just experiencing new things. But I've learned with like the failures too, like you learn how to do it differently or you learn like, oh, okay, this doesn't work, right? Like I've tried I'm trying to think of an example. Like sometimes you place product in a gym and sometimes they don't move from it's it's weird. You could place one 5 miles down the road and at the same kind of gym and it's selling out. And you're
yeah,
like, okay, well, why hasn't this gym sold a jar, right? Like, so I don't. So then it's just kind of like pivoting and just kind of learning of like, I mean, sometimes you're gonna fail and that's a good thing. So,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah. No, I mean we have a similar situation right now where we have this one distributor, one gym, private gym. It's like exactly what we want to get into. It's like perfect. They train high school and college athletes. They have recovery centers. They have everything, and
nice,
products not really selling there. And then we have this other distributor, this other gym, just small little boutique gym, sees 10 to 15 clients a day. They're already sold out. It's like,
dude.
it's these crazy things like that,
I've had the same. So actually, this is kind of a. So I actually went to my home Planet Fitness where I like started lifting. That's where I was like, all right, I'll just start there. So
Yeah.
I called and I was like, I would love to come and set a booth up there. They get so many people through there. Lady told me to cancel my gym membership and never come back.
What?
And she goes, "We don't offer any of that. Don't rep your brand. Don't talk about it in the gym. Don't anything." And
Really?
yeah, so
Oh,
they're like, so I've kind of learned to kind of stay away, not stay away from the large gyms, large corporations, but
More like
it's
stay away
crazy.
from Planet Fitness.
yeah. What the
Yeah,
hell? That's
true.
awful. Like,
It was really it was like, oh wow. After I got off the phone and like scheduled two events, so I was like, oh, I was on a high, like sweet, let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
And then I
yeah,
was like, oh nice, all right.
yeah, yeah.
So nothing ever happened. Like I still go there here and there, but
holy, I would have canceled it
I
in a
just
heartbeat. Like, I would have been so pissed. I would have never went back there.
I was really mad. Um, but I just learned like a lot in business world, a lot of people don't like to do work. Like a lot of people, like especially with the bigger corporations, it's like, okay, well, you got your local manager, right? But then she has to go to her bigger manager, and then they have to go to that top one. So it's like a lot of, and then they're like, send me an email with a bunch of info. I'll send them a bunch of email with a
Never
bunch
get
of
And you
back.
info.
never hear back.
Never hear from
Yeah.
them again.
Yeah,
So I've learned like I've been just focusing on smaller gyms, and they've done the best. Like this random like kind of like training facility does a lot of, I love them, great people, great place. They do a lot of like MMA fighting and like jujitsu and everything. And it was pretty new, pretty it was like, they get a handful of people in there and they've sold out multiple times already, compared to, a bigger gym that I'm in that you would think would perform more. So it's just kind of weird, and um, it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's just kind of
yeah,
just finding what works and just at least trying everything. Like it's worth a shot. Like some hit,
yeah.
some don't, but the more you're in and the more places you're at, the more relevance it builds, no matter what. So
Absolutely. And I think that's why, like, just going back to the whole like team aspect too, is like you might think this location is a great fit, or you might think that this video that you edited is so good, it's awesome. And then if you just had that other person to kind of like just be in your ear and be like, hey, like it's really not that good, or that location isn't might not be the best opportunity for us. Like I think that's a sort of thing that keeps you grounded, right? Like that's one thing that thankfully I've had Dylan to help me out with that kind of stuff, and I think it's crucial for kind of learning what the right
yeah.
direction is to go
So
in.
are you guys business partners now?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, nice.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm definitely like kind of thinking about, I obviously just learning like kind of the steps of like where to go, what to do, like as far as like business partners or investors or something. That's probably a whole different conversation, but um, just to help and like get different ideas is kind of the biggest thing. Like,
Hmm.
I can do the work, but it's a lot. But just having somebody that actually has kind of the similar kind of visions and mindsets of like, yo, let's just grind content all this week. Or all
yeah,
right, let's go to as many events as we can. Or yo, let's go to a random like pro game and hand out samples to people, right? Like
yeah,
you can walk around an NFL game and be like, yo, or at the gates, try my new energy drink, blah blah blah, and let's get
yeah,
some sick content out of it.
Hmm.
yeah,
Um, I think just having somebody like that would definitely be a help. Um, and I'm not obviously out like looking like, oh, DMing as many people as I can.
yeah,
Just kind of when it comes up, maybe that would be something
yeah.
cool. But it definitely would be nice to have people to bounce ideas off of for sure.
Yeah, it'll definitely. I mean, I met Dylan playing junior hockey, so like, it's not like
Nice.
these things were all like coordinated. Like, yep, I hired this guy or I found this person. Like, it doesn't really happen like that. And
Yeah.
it is a crazy thing to be able to, because sometimes, I mean, I always forget. Sometimes I'll be like, looking at things I need to get done, and I'm just like, oh my god, like I have all this shit that I need to do, and then I'm like, oh well, I got Dylan, and I got Aiden. I'm gonna
Nice.
give
Yeah.
Aiden a call. You know what I mean? He can handle this, and Dylan can help me
Exactly.
with this. Like that's kind of the helpful aspect of it. But yeah,
Yeah.
so like, what do you? I'm curious. I mean, we're pretty much up to speed in terms of everything up until this point. Unless you have anything else you want to touch on before we move on, I just want to talk a little bit about where you want to take the brand, and
Oh
do
yeah,
you
you're
want to?
good.
Yeah, do you like? I'm just curious. Are you kind of sticking to this unique product and just doing that, or do you want to expand into all other types of supplements like pre-workouts or post-workouts?
Yeah, so I guess kind of the vision of like my business plan and like kind of what I see moving forward is mainly focusing on this product, honestly.
Hmm.
Especially with being such a new technology and um I'll definitely have to give you guys some to try out, but
Oh, I was gonna
just
say, yeah, no, for sure.
the new technology of like and how effective it is and like tastes like a juice, dude. It's just it's with protein. It's crazy. So, um, and I believe in it, true, and there's science to back it up. So I really wanna get that out all around
Mhm.
globe and the country. So that's the first vision. I mean, down the road, for sure. Like, um, maybe doing like, but even it could be like cool, like random collabs, like with you guys or something, doing
Yeah,
like a energy drink recovery kind of deal.
yeah, yeah,
Um, I'm definitely open to those too as well. And then hopefully having like a little I'm hopefully gonna have a merch line coming out in the next like year-ish. Backpacks, water bottles, hats, hoodies, leggings, sweatpants. Um, so that's gonna be kind of more like my motivational kind of part of the brand as
yeah,
well, with just having like the motivation on there. Um, so that, and then I'm hoping to have like an actual kind of the sales people that can help me out, like I kind of was just mentioning before, of just it's very tough to do every single thing and
yeah,
grow and have your own ideas, especially when you're trying to scale and grow to a huge level. Especially with somebody that's this is my first company, so having people with experience and stuff like that would help for sure. So yeah, go national, go global, and get it in as many gyms and um, just grow the awareness, get some sweet people to try it out, and just kind of scale it and grow it from there.
right.
Right
Yeah,
on.
I mean that's like one thing that I've sort of contemplated over the years is like, all right, do I dial in on one product or do I offer various products? You know what I mean? Like when I was
Hmm.
doing the clothing, I was like, when I first started, it was everything you could think of. I was granted I was drop shipping at the time, so it was like, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
yeah, the old drop shipping days.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, and that's when I like that. So now we just like from the clothing aspect, we focus on hoodies. Like we want that to be our like staple thing. You know what I mean? And then for the drink now, like we're in the supplement industry, it's like, okay, do we want to expand into other avenues within the supplement industry, or do we just dial in on the pre workout and the energy side of things? Because ultimately, I think that well, the supplement industry is unique in that
It's
there are a
crazy.
lot of competitors in there. There's a lot of
Oh
people
yeah.
doing different things, and but that's why it makes me think that like you need to have a unique product, or else you're just going to blend in with everybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I,
You want
I,
somebody to go shopping online, look up and not look up energy drink, just know that they're going to go to UD Energy or something like that because
Mhm.
that's what they do. You know what I mean? Same thing with you
yep.
with, you know what I mean? So, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I think of it kind of as like being, I don't know how to word this, kind of like unique in a way of like where I think it's good to have like at least two things that you sell because
yeah,
if one doesn't do as well, you can fall back and the brand's still huge on this. So like you guys have your huge clothing brand, you have the energy drink too. So I think it's perfect combo of like because that's kind of where um kind of I want to be kind of with like okay, I have a sick product, sweet, blah blah blah, it's really cool, and I can transition that, build the product as well as launch a clothing brand as well, like
right on.
where I can have unique merch because like you guys know it's sick to take cool pictures with your sick merch,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
It's hard to go out there and take product pictures in your Ninja Turtles t-shirt and post that all up on social media. So
yeah, yeah,
um I just think it would be good to have as well. So like, um,
yeah,
sell them as I bet a bunch of people probably buy like some energy drinks and then they also buy a hoodie, or buy a
yeah,
t-shirt.
Yep.
So, but then, even if they're not sitting there posting pictures with your energy drink, at least they got your shirt on at the gym, right?
Yep.
So,
yeah, exactly.
um,
Free brand awareness right there. Free marketing.
yeah, so that's kind of my goal with that aspect. Down the road, we'll see, but I mean, the biggest thing is grow this first.
Yeah. No,
So,
that's awesome. I mean, we've covered a lot of topics, but I mean, I know we just probably barely touched on a lot of it. You know, there's always a lot to talk about with a lot of our guests too, right? Like we start talking about a topic and we could talk for hours on just that
Oh
one
yeah,
thing, you know. So, but we like to try and keep our episodes to like about an hour. So, but we'd love to have you on again in the future,
yeah,
and
for sure,
obviously definitely we want to do some sort of collab because we
Yeah.
like we've already talked
dude.
about.
I'd
It's
love to.
yeah, it's awesome meeting like-minded individuals that are on a similar path. So we appreciate you coming on, man. And you
Yeah,
got anything else you want to mention, or are you pretty much good for now?
I think I'm good. I just want to say thank you guys though too for the opportunity, and I down the road I see a sweet little collab coming down here,
For
Yeah,
so
yeah.
sure.
I'd love to talk more and hopefully send you guys something to try. Actually, try Aiden. Let me try your guys' energy drink, and it's
Oh yeah,
amazing.
what'd you
So
think? Yeah, you like it?
I love it. It was really
Unreal.
Awesome,
good. So
good stuff,
yeah,
good stuff.
I will be in touch. I got to grab you guys' numbers, and we can just go from there. Be in
For
touch.
sure, sounds good.
So
Dylan, you got anything else for him?
No, that was awesome. I mean, I think the similarities we have between us as people and between the brands is crazy. I think we understand each other, what we've gone through, and where we're headed, and that's awesome. Don't stop, keep going. It'll pay off
yeah,
eventually.
you
So
too.
it was great to have you on, and
Yeah,
we look forward to
yeah. Thank you.
the relationship going forward.
Yeah, for sure. We'll talk soon, guys. Thank
All
you.
right, man. Nice meeting you. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks. Yeah, take care.
All right, so another one in the books. This was a little bit different for our listeners, as I mentioned during the interview. But like usually we have athletes on, which is awesome. I love hearing those stories as well. But this was a little different take. But it's funny how much they correlate, like between the two, sport and business. It's just obviously it's different adversities. One's physical, the other's more mental. Um, but it's very similar in terms of the adversities that you face and the resilience you have to actually make something happen, right?
Yep.
Like you're gonna like from a being an athlete in sports side of things, right? Like you're gonna have shitty games. You're gonna get told no, or you're gonna say you sucked or whatever it is, and it's just like the ability to turn around from that and keep moving forward. Like that's the same thing in business. You're going to be told no. You're not going to be making sales for a day or a couple days, or somebody's going to tell you no to having your product in their location. Like that
Yep.
stuff's going to happen.
Well, it just goes to show, how much you can learn from sport and how much of the lessons you can learn from sport can be applied to the real world with, whatever it is you do, business, um, any profession. There's so many lessons that can be taken away from sport. And I think a lot of people don't realize that until they're done with it. Um, there's one ex NHLer I follow, I'm blank on his name right now, and he's a personal trainer now, has his own gym, and the one video I was watching on Instagram just talked about the lessons that he applies to running his business as a professional. He learned as a professional hockey player. He goes, and he said the same thing you said. You're going to have bad games. You're going to have bad days in business. You know, shit's going to go wrong on the ice. Shit's going to go wrong in your business. Like, it's all about how you respond. And it's the big picture lessons that you can take away from sport that can be applied to the real world.
Yeah, absolutely. And then James's
Awesome.
situation, like
Awesome
it,
kid.
yeah, awesome. And I'm pumped to see somebody like it almost feels like he not following in the same footsteps that I am, but it's like seeing the old me, like back when I was
Yes. Dude, the
19.
similarities were crazy. And
Crazy.
and
I was laughing a couple times. I was like, "Oh my god, it's like sounds like something
I
I'm
know
doing,"
exactly what you're going through. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well, so many things. It's like even with just the supplement side of things. I mean the clothing's with it too, but just from what we've learned in the last year and a half, and what we've gone through in the last year and a half with bringing UD Energy to life, he's gone through the same things, exact same
yeah,
things. Jim,
yeah,
bringing the product to life is one thing. Creating brand awareness, the mistake on the label, like we have been there. The gyms, you're gonna have gyms say no. You're gonna have gyms that sell it. We've been through the same thing, or we're
yeah,
going through the same thing. So I think that was awesome. It's so cool to see, like us, and like we said in the About Us video, to find like-minded individuals.
yeah. That's what it's all about.
It's rare. It's cool to find someone that's driven like us.
Yeah,
Great
and
kid.
on
That was awesome.
and that's one of like one of the biggest things too about this podcast that's very special to me is that the reason why we are able to meet so many unbelievable people is that they themselves are willing to say yes to a podcast that isn't the Joe Rogan podcast, that isn't, all these super popular podcasts. And that tells me one thing, that they're coming on to share their story, meet new people, and just
Network.
dive deep. Exactly, dive deep on
Yep.
these topics. And we haven't had a single bad guest on the podcast for that exact reason. And it like, for me personally, like doing the podcast, like it's not a lucrative part of our business right now, right? Like it's something that we have yet to monetize, but it's something that adds so much value from a content standpoint and relationship standpoint.
It helps the other aspects of the brand. Like, yes, like you said, it's not monetized. We don't make any money from this, but the benefit it brings to the drink, the clothing, the
Yeah,
business side of it, the brand awareness, content, like
yeah,
you said, like it does monumental things for us, but we you might not realize it firsthand.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
And then just going back to like James's story, it was funny when he was saying that he was working 9 to 5 doing landscaping, and then he'd go home and work until on his brand until like 2 in the morning. I was like, oh my God, I would literally train in the mornings. I'd work with my dad putting in wood floors all day until like 4, 5 o'clock. And then I'd go and freaking skate and then work on the brand at night. It's like,
Yeah,
it was crazy, the similarities. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see how I didn't know he was so new. I thought it's
yeah,
been
4 months.
around for long. Yeah, wow. I mean, Jesus, he's way ahead of the
Come a
game.
long ways in 4 months.
Yeah,
I mean,
way ahead of
similar,
the game.
well, from a brand standpoint, but you know, really, he's been around longer than UD Energy. Um,
Yeah, true.
like
Very
we're
true.
gonna be in the same boat. Obviously, we say yes, the brand's been around since 2019, but really, UD Energy has been around since 2022.
Exactly.
And it's been a totally different realm. Yes, they go hand in hand, but it's a whole new learning process selling these compared to
Yeah,
selling these.
yeah, yeah. No, exactly. And it's funny because he's going the reverse direction. He's starting with
Yes,
supplement and going into the clothing after. So I found that pretty interesting too. He took the hard route first.
yeah. Hell, he'll get into clothing. Be like, wow, look what I was
This is a
missing out on.
joke.
So easy.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know. That's funny. But yeah, and just from a teamwork aspect, like I want to talk to you about this more because obviously we've been working together for a couple of years now on this on Underdog, and I like so I was seeing James when we were talking to him, and when he said that he doesn't have any help, I almost like I wanted to like say something that was gonna like tell him how valuable it can be to have people around you like helping you and all that kind of stuff, because I remember those days, man. They were some dark days, when
well,
you're
I remember
when
that
you're
first year, like when seeing you at the rink. You had just launched it when we met. I remember that, and no, I wasn't involved like I am now back then, but I still remember being on Zoom with you and you telling me about it, and
yeah,
I'm like, holy shit! Like that first year,
yeah,
that would have been early 2019, or no, I guess
yeah,
like early in the hockey season of 2019, right after you launched it. Um,
yeah,
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 it.
yeah.
I don't know how you did
It
it.
really,
I don't know how you do it now. I don't know how
I
we do
know,
this now. Like
I know.
like I
Yeah,
said, we look at what we're doing. Like students are busy as it is. And I think, I had the same conversation with John, our trainer at the gym today. People don't understand the commitment it takes to be a student athlete. And John went on to say, how much I value and appreciate John. And John went on to say, people don't understand the difference between excelling as a student athlete and just being a student athlete. There's people that are student athletes. There are very few that excel as a student while playing Division One athletics. Said that is a tough thing to do. And now I look what we're doing. No one else is doing this. Okay, yeah,
yeah,
there's a population of students this big. There's a population of student athletes this big. And there's a population of student athletes that are also running a business on their own about that big. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, yeah,
the commitment and to do what we are doing and what James is doing, he's in the same boat, is unbelievable. And we'll look back, I know we will, and be like, how'd we do this?
yeah.
You know?
And he's a double major too.
And he's a double
Yeah,
major.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's when he mentioned that, and when you just said that now, it really made me think about the whole process in itself, being a student
Mhm.
athlete and running a business. And there are sacrifices. Like
Oh yeah.
for me especially, like um, not just within the realm of those three circles, but I mean, sorry, not within the realm of other things like friends, family, and all that kind of stuff, but within the
Yeah.
realm of the three circles. Like, there's plenty of times where I'm like, okay, I need to make a decision. Am I gonna do this homework assignment, or am I going to, you know, take away a few of these tasks with the business? And you know what I
Mhm.
mean? I think the biggest thing is being able to prioritize. Like, there's this concept that Jocko Willink always says, and it's prioritize and execute. Prioritize your list of things that you need to get done and execute them
Execute them.
in order, one at a time. Um, and that's where a lot of people go wrong, is they don't know they don't know what to do first, and then they just never step. They never take
They don't have
the
a
actions.
direction.
Exactly. There's no direction, and that's like I've been there. Like, there's been plenty of times where I'm like, what am I do? Where am we going next? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
what's going on here? And honestly, just sitting down and like prioritizing things in order is just it's the way you have to go. But people don't want to make sacrifices. You know, people don't want to give up
They want
the
everything
Friday
easy.
night, the
Yeah.
Saturday night, and they don't want to, you know, give up spending time with the girlfriend or boyfriend or going out with the friends and stuff like that. Like, nobody wants to do that. Hell, I didn't want to do it. I did it. You know what I mean? Like, and that's really what is it's doing the shit that nobody else wants to do. That quote is never more real than doing what we're doing now. You know, and I'm
Yeah.
sure.
It's so applicable. Like yeah, would I've liked to go to homecoming and hang out with the boys and watch a football game? Yeah. Did I? No. Why? Because I had shit to do. I don't have time.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was a priority list, and that's not one of them.
yeah,
Would I like to go hang out with the boys on a Friday night on an off weekend? Yeah. Did I? No. I don't have
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Like the time is so valuable, and I think that's one thing I've learned too. I time is so valuable, and that ties into having a partner too, and being able to do this because time is the most valuable thing there is. I don't have a waking second to piss around doing anything. Like I think it's funny. I was telling my parents, this is a little off topic, but I was telling my parents, like, mom was giving me shit for my shitty beard, and I'm like, it's not intentional. Like I don't have time. Like, I take 2 minutes in the shower and I'm out the door because I got stuff I got to do. I don't have time to have a 15-minute shower and then shave for 10 minutes after. Like,
yeah,
it is in and out. And it's like, that's so low on the priority list. It's like, I'll just clean my neck
yeah,
up and hit the road because the reality of it is I don't have time for that. Like, there's other things that are so far ahead on my priority list that I need to do. I need to get
yeah,
done that some things fall, and that's just the way it is. So that's one I think is it's funny, um, but it's relatable. Like that's something firsthand.
yeah,
There's all sorts
yeah,
of little things that I need to do that get pushed off because they're bigger fish to fry.
yeah, absolutely. And honestly, the more things that I've added to my list of things to do on a daily basis, I've become increasingly more appreciative of when it's time to freaking go to bed, and it's time to like,
Me too.
you know what I mean? Like, by the end of the day, like, a lot of people are like, you know, some people would be like, oh, you know, I'm not tired, I'm not gonna go to bed yet. When it's time to go to bed, man, I'm see you later. Like, it's freaking out cold, you
It's
know?
yeah, and it's a race to get stuff done so I can go to bed. Like going to bed is a
Exactly, yeah.
privilege. Like I remember,
Yeah.
yeah, being the same way when you're younger. Oh, mom, I'm not really tired. Like I'll stay up, but no, it's like, oh God, I just want to get this done with so I can go to bed. Like I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's a privilege to be in bed at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this is nice. Like
This is
it's not
great.
11:30. I'm
Yeah.
not staring at my screen for the last 3 hours trying to get this done. Like I can't wait to just go upstairs and go to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Anyways, I
absolutely.
know we went on for a while, but that was a
Yeah,
great
no,
episode.
that's
James
good.
was
Yeah.
great. I think he's cut from the same cloth, and I'm excited to build a relationship with him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, same thing here. Like, I think and just going back to what I said, one last thing is like I love seeing people do stuff like this. It honestly it gives me hope that
Mhm.
there are more people that are like me, that are like us, that are like James, because there are ultimately people out there, but it's just so few that are actually
Right.
willing to do that. And being able to cross paths with people like that on the same journey is a really special thing. Never mind just having a conversation with somebody on the same path. I think that's and that's what we did today. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, but yeah, we'll wrap it up with that, and we thank you guys for listening to this episode. We'll have James's personal and business social links in the comment section below. Um, we thank you guys for listening. We hope you enjoyed the episode. You know, that's what this is all about. It's for you guys to hear these stories, to ultimately, hopefully, make you guys take the step in your own lives and your own journey. So we thank you for listening, and see you on the next episode.